Welcome to an Aries and Pisces walk into a coffee shop, the podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Bridget, she, her.
And I'm Tiffany, she, her. This is a podcast where two friends let go of perfectionism and talk unedited. Hello.
Hi, how are you doing? It is a pleasure to see you.
I'm really glad that you thought to do this. Monday came really fast, and I had Monday humdrums. And then, I don't know, probably like a half hour after I rolled out of bed, I was like, oh yeah, I get to talk to Bridget today.
Oh.
And that helped because I really struggled to get out of bed today.
Oh, that is sweet, and I'm sorry to hear that, and it's sweet. all of the things. Oh my gosh, I meant to light this candle for us. I'm gonna light this candle. I got a big old pillar here on my desk. It's my the last candle that I had in the house, and it's bigger than I would typically put on my desk. I'm gonna show it to you if I.
Yes, please.
I'm gonna be very careful and bring it over here. Oh my God, I love your mug.
Hey, thanks.
Here is the candle.
Wow.
So big, I'm gonna put it back.
I mean, if we're doing big magic, you need a big candle.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
It's a reframe.
Yeah, it's also in this the little thing I made when I did that little pottery class that wasn't a pottery class. So I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
But it's a perfect dish to put a candle on.
Oh, that is a good idea.
Yeah, I didn't know what else
to. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah. So if I ever do another run at pottery and I make a random dish that I don't know what to do with, I'll send it your way.
Oh, that's so darling. Thank you. So how are you doing? It's your season.
Oh my God. Oh, yes. Happy spring. Number one, happy spring. And I only knew that it was spring because my Google Calendar told me that it was the March equinox.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody texted me and said, happy Aries season. And I was like, oh my God, yay. I was like, it's today? Like, surprise. I'm an Aries. I don't know when Aries season starts. This morning, I was journaling and I was like, when does Aries season start? I was like, I should Google that. And then I forgot to Google it. But then she texted me and said that anyway. And I was like, oh my God, it's today. Start of spring. It all makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I'm excited. She was saying, we've finally arrived. And I was saying, but more importantly, we made it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we survived. We did it. We're doing it.
Oh, yes. That seems to be the collective consensus that this Pisces season really did a number on a few of us, including resident Pisces. I normally love my season. Man, this one was a little more taxing than I anticipated. So I am also really happy for Aries. In true Aries fashion, someone that I know they didn't like Pisces season either. It wasn't treating them very well. And I saw them and they were like, stick it, Pisces, and showed me their shoes, and it was like their Aries shoes. And I was like, I'm also excited for Aries season. I'm also ready for this to be done.
Wait a second. Did you just say Aries shoes?
Yeah, they had shoes that had a design, and the toe said Aries real big on it.
Whoa.
And it made me really happy. I'm pretty sure I'm not projecting this, but I think I remember they were in fact fire colored. That's the impression I have now. But yeah, Pisces brain fog is still clinging, even though we technically shifted. I'm not quite there yet. I still feel a little amorphous and blurry, but I'm hoping
Mm-hmm.
that will shore up with some sunshine. I sat in the sun for a long time yesterday.
Oh, how
It was cold,
nice.
but it was sunny.
Yeah, the sun is out here, but it is so cold. Yesterday we like at some point in the day the wind chill was like 19. It's like in the 20s. I'm like, get out
Mm.
of here. This is rude.
Okay, ours was a little bit warmer. We got up to like 40 yesterday. So it felt downright balmy after the 20 and teens that we had earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
hard to hold on to spring when it's cold like that, but I spent time outside and saw these little green shoots coming up, like little daffodils, and I saw some crocuses. And so like I was like, and petals, like the crocuses had petals. So I was like, oh right, like it's happening. It's cold, but it's like still coming. There's
Yeah.
green. We might still get another snow, but I can survive that, I think.
I'm I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm not sure if I can if I can survive that. It was snowing all weekend. None of it really like stuck for very long. But at some points, we just look outside and it's just white out, and I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
stop it, stop.
I had like a sunny snow shower happen when I
Hmm.
was driving. It was full bright sun and then just like snow flurries. It was actually disconcerting. It was beautiful because it was like glitter just like following through the air, but disconcerting because I was just like, I don't know what to do with this mismatch of input.
Hmm. That's like to me when it rains and it's sunny. Like that
That
doesn't.
seems more normal to me.
No, no, that doesn't make any sense to me.
I get it. You know what really happened to help me feel more at peace with that is when I moved to Indiana. Everything is so flat that everything just kind of blows through. So, like, you could look on one side and it would be sunny, and you'd look on the other side and it would be like black horizon. And so things would shift really fast like that. I saw more rainbows in Indiana than any place I've ever lived. The
Whoa.
only place I've seen more consistent rainbows is when I was driving through the mountains of Switzerland. Which is a weird sentence to say because I don't normally put Indiana and Switzerland together, but for rainbows, I don't know. They were really neck and neck, I think. Not that I was in
Wow.
Switzerland for very long, but I appreciated Indiana for that reason.
Hmm. That sounds magical.
Yeah, I kind of miss seeing rainbows. I don't drive as much now, and I don't, well, Illinois is on the flatter side, but I just haven't seen any as frequently as before. But then again, I'm not normally out and about in the weather because I'm working from home and
Mm-hmm.
not having a long commute anymore. So, you know, pros, cons. I think I'll take it though.
Yeah. Yeah. I was joking about my commute the other day to my partner. I was making breakfast. I think it was on Saturdays. I usually work Saturday mornings because
Mm.
I like the structure of working in the morning. And I made my breakfast and I ate it downstairs, and he's like, "Are you going to work now?" And I was like, "Yep, this is my commute. Like, allow me to walk up the stairs." And it is very different than like getting in your car and going somewhere.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that morning routine a lot because of the consistently hard mornings, which is why I sent you the insight timer thing today because I woke up and the last few days I've been thinking about how because mornings are hard for me, I normally wait till the last possible second to get out of bed. And then I roll out of bed having to go log into work. And it dawned on me that I'm training my body to dread mornings even more because it
Mm.
means I have to hurry up and get to work. And I was just like, oh, mornings were already hard. I'm definitely making them harder because I'm training my body to have to like do capitalism as soon as it wakes up.
Oh,
So no
yuck.
wonder I wake up with my heart pounding and my mind racing because I trained my body to be like, we gotta be on the go. We gotta do the things. Like, chop, you're late.
Oh,
And I was like,
shoot.
oh, I need to shift that. And so this morning I woke up a wee bit earlier and immediately regretted it. As soon as the alarm went off and I saw the time, I was like, why'd you do that? And then I was like, all right. We had a plan. We had a thought why we did this. And I didn't plan thoroughly enough. So I kind of ended up scrolling mindlessly for a minute on Insight Timer, being like, what's going to make me feel better? I don't know if any of this is going to make me feel better. But then I've been exploring more of the meditations of the woman that you sent me, whose name is out of my head right now. I think her last name starts with a P.
Amy
But
Patty.
yes,
Yeah.
Amy Patty.
I
That's right.
love her. I love her meditations.
I do too. And then one of the ones, which I've seen but have never clicked on, was Waking Up with Grace. And I think I didn't. Well, normally I'm doing meditations later in the day. So I'm like, well, I'm already awake. And then today I looked at it and I almost scrolled past it. And I was like, this is exactly what you're trying to do. Stop being resistant. I was like being I was feeling really petulant when I was just like, I want to wake up with Grace. I want to be authentic in my humdrum feelings. But it was excellent. Like it was
Mm.
so well, all the things that you described her before, like gentle. It was just gentle and
Mm-hmm.
sweet. And I had this moment where I thought, oh, I know how to take better care of myself than I give myself credit for. Because it's not just a guided meditation, it's like guided suggestion. So she like gives you these gentle suggestions of movement to like slowly get your energy going, like
Oh.
in the body. It's very somatic based, which is something I've been practicing a lot. And it was really interesting that she would have a suggestion, I would do that suggestion, and I would start doing another movement, like intuitively, that felt good. And then she would suggest that, like right after.
I love
And I
when
was
that
like,
happens.
oh.
It's like magic.
It did feel like magic. And so, yeah, I ended up sending that meditation to a couple of people actually this morning. So I was like, this felt great. This is what I needed. And so I'm going to try to do that consistently to see if I can start retraining my body to being like, oh, we get to just like roll around and like gently get out of bed and feel good taking care of ourselves instead of this like panic of I have to do the things, I have to get stuff done, I have to hurry up and clock in so that it looks like I'm productive. Like
Yuck.
imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Like I have to look like I'm being productive. Because obviously chaos human doesn't know how to do that.
I love this so much for you, and that's, I think, probably like a big part of my morning routine. Like mornings are so fucking hard. Getting out of bed is the hardest thing in the world. And I've been working on this for a good long while of like, I think I had a very similar thought to you of I am waking up and then immediately just filled with a bunch of like negative thoughts in my mind of like how hard it is to get up, like how it sucks so much, how like everything hurts and it's dark and it's cold and all, like, you know, like all the things about like it's so hard to get up. I don't want to get up. I hate this. Why is it so hard? And I was like, I need to switch what I'm telling myself because I am literally making it harder by doing all that. And I'm like, I don't need to fucking do that anymore. And I have still been struggling with like what's maybe like a nicer or more supportive thing that I can say to myself when I like first wake up? I'm still wrestling with it. But I think it's not funny, but it's funny that you brought this up because today I'm sitting there like journaling after I got up and
Hmm.
did all my things. And I'm like, motherfucker, I'm so tired. Like, all I want to do is like stay in bed. I don't want to be here. I
Hmm.
don't want to be doing any of this stuff. And then I remind myself why I'm doing it. I have my morning practice literally to get me out of bed. Like, getting out of bed and starting is the hardest thing that I do all day. If I can, I do that every day. I get up. And if I can do that, like, holy shit, I'm doing a great job.
Oh, I like that reframing. And I
Like,
feel like it's perfectly in line with the Aries season. And it's so funny because I just think of you as just a spark igniting all the time. And to think of you as someone that's like slow start is
oh,
so healing to me. I'm like, wait,
do
we
you
were all
want to
just
hear
really
just
human.
how slow this human starter is? I mean, who I think it's a lot. I had a lot of, I think, like judgment and shame around my
Mm,
morning routine for a good long while, and sometimes it still hits me, but I get up around 7:15 and I like do what I need to do in the bathroom. I feed the cats. I, do all of the things. And then I make my smoothie. I sit down to journal, and I have my smoothie and journaling and meditation is all within like the 8 o'clock hour.
hmm.
And then around like 9, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get ready for my day. So then I like contacts, hair, whatever, breakfast, tea, all of that stuff. And I don't like then come to work. I'm not like ready for my brain until like 10. So it's like
Yes.
3 fucking hours of just like, this is how long it takes me to be like, okay, I can today.
Yes.
Like,
That is how I feel.
don't try to talk to me before that, certainly. Like, no, don't ask me to do anything that requires my brain, like anything other than the things I just can just do, like feed the
Hmm.
cats. No, like she's a slow starter. Mornings are not for me. So like to be able to have this like routine and ritual to get me through that, I'm so grateful because now I don't have to think about it. Like I don't have to think about it. I know I'm making this smoothie in the morning and
Hmm.
I'm sitting down to journal and meditate. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to ask, do you want to? Do you not want? Nope, I'm just doing it because I know that's going to be the bridge to like get me to the point where I can like start doing a day.
I admire so much that you were able, not only able, but like committed to figuring out how to curate that for yourself. Capitalism is so hard.
It is. It is.
And I'm
It's really hard.
so obsessed with
Yeah.
how you've managed to do things in a way that actually support you because the rhythm you're describing is my rhythm. I also feel that, except I have been in a life in which I've been required to be up and moving by like 7, 8, and I'm supposed to be on.
Yeah,
And I
that's tough.
just am not. And so I spend most of my morning battling with my inner critic, being like, you're bad at this.
Oh.
You're not good at your job. Everyone knows that you're lazy. And like having to like walk myself backwards from like those just like reflexive, conditioned thoughts. And some days are better than others, but I think lately that's gotten a lot louder because I've just been really chronically exhausted and just
Hmm.
generally feeling on the lower, not only lower energy side, but just like lower self esteem side. And so at least I'm aware of the thoughts. That's what I keep on trying to remind myself. I'm like, well, at least you know you're talking like that because otherwise it would just be an automatic tape that's just spooling out into the ether.
I was literally just having this conversation with somebody else of like, we're like all going through, like, fucking going through it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, why is it so hard? Like, why does it feel so hard? And I was like, I think it's because we're so aware of it that it's like, motherfucker, why
Oh,
you back? You know, like, I'm like, I see you now. I've worked on you. Like, why you coming up? Like, I see what's going on. I don't want to do it anymore. Like, whereas before it was just like you were just like in it and you didn't know anything else. And like, so now I think it almost like for a second it like hits harder, but you go through it way more. I go through it way more differently now of like, I'm not like
yes, and
stuck in it.
faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's a
And
really good point.
we get to talk about it like this, which then I think helps, right?
Oh, it definitely helps. And I think I hate that it's collective. I don't love that everyone seems to be going through it, but at the same time, oh, is it a relief to just know it's the human condition and not some like personal
Uh-huh.
failing? And
Yeah.
that because it's collective, it feels like the truth that it's going to shift and change is more reliable to me. Because I think
Hmm.
sometimes when it's like personal, I do get afraid that it's just going to be like this, even though I
Forever.
have data to the contrary. But it's harder to hold on to when
Yeah.
it's just me. But when I see everyone going through, I'm like, well, that's so many variables. Something has to shift and change. It can't be all of us all the time, just in perpetuity. Like it has to be dynamic for all those variables to factor in. Which I think is why another reason I've been so looking forward to Aries season because it felt like a mark on the calendar that it could feel different. One of the other things I've been thinking about a lot that I have found soothing because I think when I get stuck too small and personal, it feels really crushing. But when I zoom up and out, like astrologically speaking,
Hmm.
it's like, oh, cosmos, huge. Like, oh, I'm just small and insignificant. I'm swept up in this. And somehow that makes me feel better.
Hmm.
And one of the things that keeps on popping up in a lot of the astrologers that I'm following is talking about how that Saturn move um, into Pisces is such a big shift because last time Saturn moved was 3 years ago, which was 2020, which is like the things that people went through and learned and grew from 2020 to now. Of course, that's going to feel heavy. Like all of that integration or seeds planted and sprouting. Like I think about that saying, who I forget said it, but talking about how like putting the seed under the ground, it feels like destruction when it sprouts,
Mm.
even though like that's growth and like new life and you're gonna get a plant, but like, you know, the busting open of the seed is intense. And so I keep on trying to like think of it like that way and hold on to that real hard where I'm just like, yeah, this doesn't feel good. However, maybe it's just sprouting.
Maybe.
And we're all going to be so tall in just a little bit, and the sun's going to be shining in our face.
Yes, yes. I love that. I love that visual, especially too because last week I just started some indoor seeds to
Ooh, mm-hmm.
to get ready to plant outside, and they just sprouted, and that was like really really exciting to me. It feels like it happened fast, but I guess like I don't know how fast things sprout. I don't fucking know. I just do it. Um, but I just want to share something absolutely ridiculous. Um, that you said about like the seed and the like the destruction, and it's like busting forth. Well, of course, I mean, you know how ridiculous my partner and I are, but I'm
It's
not
my
like
favorite thing.
I'm not so familiar with Ghostbusters, but apparently in Ghostbusters, I don't know if it's in the song, I don't know if it's in the movie, I don't have a clue, but they say bustin' makes me feel good. And
Uh-huh.
so that to me is like top level so ridiculous. And as you were illustrating this seed like busting forth, now I have both of those to get together. So, busting makes me feel good. Yeah, we can maybe find some pleasure in the busting forth.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold on to that piece of levity. I could use that because so far it has felt more like destruction and dying. Um,
Mm.
but that's why I've been trying to reframe it as a seed, and so I like the ridiculousness of tying a Ghostbusters quote that sounds not family friendly, to be honest. With that metaphor of the seed, I'll take
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm for sure gonna hold on to that. I'm seeing both of these things now in a different way and together, and that feels supportive.
It's been just a time. And I think because so many of the people I know like really pay attention to like plant messages. I know you use your plant oracle deck, and then one of my other friends often will pull a card from her. I think it's called the Herb Cutters Tarot, which is all herb based. And then this weekend I went to like an Astara bonfire type gathering, and the host had a couple of decks of cards out, and there's a new one that I've never seen before called Seed and Sickle, and it is similar, where it's all plant-based messages, but more oracle deck style. Um, and it's seed and sickle, so it like starts with the seed and then sickle for the harvest. So it's like this
Mm.
full cycle oracle deck, and the art is really gorgeous. The couple of messages that I read in the card were really nice, and so I think that's been helping reinforce this like garden seed metaphor that I've been leaning into real hard, because so far the toil has felt um, tireless came to mind, but what there was a different. It just felt hard, like I wasn't working towards anything, like I was just spinning in place.
Mm.
And so when I'm thinking about like gardens and seeds, I'm like, oh, this work is hard, and you don't see the benefits immediately. And that has been helpful for me to not feel so, I think, defeated is the word that comes to
Oh.
mind. Because it just feels, yeah, exhausting.
Yeah. Can we take it back to an astro thing that you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned? The Saturn thing with the shifting of the like, listen, I don't know what any of these things are, so hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down. Whatever's happening in Saturn that is changing,
Mm-hmm.
that started in
Yeah.
2020.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so is that like, where is it going now? Like, that's just like really gotten me thinking of like what everything that I've been working on, for example, like since 2020.
Yeah.
And
Trying to remember some of the things that I read, because I mean, amateur, just I enjoy astrology. I'm not an astrologer. But I had been reading over and over again that people were integrating lessons from when Saturn was in its previous spot, which I think that was Aquarius. And then it just shifted into Pisces.
Hmm.
And now that I'm saying that out loud, I'm starting to second guess myself. But the point of the matter was that Saturn's one of those planets that moves slow. So when it shifts, it tends to bring a lot of like weight with it, because it spends so much time in one area. And then when it does shift, it's like years worth of things that have gone on are like cropping back up or being
Hmm.
integrated. So it's like things that you didn't maybe fully grasp throughout that time period are coming back up, so you like learn the lesson in a deeper way or a more sustainable way. Or I wonder if some, I'm just thinking out loud now, I wonder if some people are like also reaping the benefits of, because for me it felt like I was getting the hard-nosed, hey, you've been learning some stuff, but you're like not learning it in practice. You cognitively know it,
Uh-huh.
and now we're gonna make you practice it and know it
Yes.
in your body. Sorry, not sorry. You have to do it all now. Good luck. And that's how it's felt for me. But I'm wondering if maybe other people are having like, oh, this came up again, and like, look how easily it's skating by because I did the thing. I'm kind of hoping that for some people. I haven't felt
Uh-huh.
that though.
Yeah, that's not what has been happening over here either. Now that I'm like thinking about it under this lens, I'm like, oh, okay. I see. Like
Man, I'm trying to remember. I think I remember, and I don't know, I might have told you this already, so sorry if it's a repeat. Um, but Saturn in Pisces, like Saturn's stern, like it tends to be a kind of um
oh, was this the daddy
hard.
thing?
Yes, yeah. So like Jupiter and Saturn are like the sky daddies, and Saturn tends to be the more strict sky daddy, like hard nose, rules, rigid. You got to do the things you don't want to do. But I I've been hearing, and I'm waiting for it to feel this way, that Saturn in Pisces is when strict daddy has a joint or a drink or two, or just loosens up and like lets the kids stay up past bedtime
Mhm.
and have a cookie maybe. And so I'm like waiting for the cookie feeling to come in.
Can I tell you about
Um,
a cookie?
please,
Oh my
always.
God. Well, yesterday, my partner and
Mm-hmm.
I went to our newfound favorite place, which is the
Mm.
Barnes and Noble Cafe.
Oh, okay.
Like, like where did this come from? I don't know. 5 minutes from our house, yet we've like never gone there, but we just ended up in there one day and he got his usual Starbucks coffee. However, the person there made this coffee like so much better than the people at Starbucks just fuck it up all the time. And it's literally so easy. It's a venti iced coffee with light cream and no sugar. But
That's pretty standard.
the amount of cream that ends up in this drink is like horrendous. I would never be able to get it. Anyway, she makes it like fucking perfect. And then I see this cookie in their like case. They've got all of these pastries and shit. And I was like, oh my God, a sugar butter cookie. Like that to me
Mm.
is like the cookie of my childhood that you used to get at like that. There was that cookie place in the mall.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And um it was like one of those for me. So I got it because I am hard pressed to ever find just like a sugar cookie that is fantastic. Like you can find a chocolate chip cookie everywhere, but like as a person who doesn't really like chocolate in that way, I just want a fucking sugar cookie that's not like
Mm-hmm.
a gross sugar cookie. Anyway, I get this cookie. It's the best thing I've ever fucking had in my life. And I'm like, Barnes and Noble, holy shit. Like, where did you come from? Why do you have the best cookie I've ever had? Anyway, we've been continuing going on these dates to get the coffee and the cookie, as I call it. It's the
yeah.
cookie. So we went last night and she's like, "Oh, you guys, like you getting your usual coffee?" Yeah, and she
Oh,
asked me
this
like,
is so
"What?"
cute.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And she was like, "Are you getting something?" Because sometimes I don't get anything, and I usually just get like a cookie or I try something else. But yeah, I told her that I wanted the cookie. I didn't say the cookie to her, but
I kind of wish you had.
can I just get the cookie? I said, yeah, I'm getting a cookie. And she said, okay, which one? So, she goes to like put it in the little pastry bag. And she's like, kind of like giggling. And she's like, well, she hands it to me. She's like, you're getting two cookies because this other one just like broke off. They were like stuck together.
Mm-hmm.
And so the other one like broke off. So I got like 1 3/4 of a cookie, but I was like, oh my God, okay, two of the cookie.
Bonus.
And then she goes to give us the coffee and she's like, you know what? I was trying to be like real speedy, like real efficient here. And I grabbed the bigger cup. So he usually gets a venti. You're the fucking Trenta. I'm like, you don't need that much coffee. It was also in the evening. It ended up being too much coffee. But anyway, we walked out of there giggling because we got like the biggest coffee and two cookies. And
Mm-hmm.
like, I think it felt like that. It felt, was she Sky Daddy like giving us an extra cookie?
I think that this was your reward for being an Aries. And
Thank you.
well, and honestly, like I know. Oh yeah, a Pisces and an Aries walk into a Starbucks. In the liminal space between Pisces and Aries season and get rewarded for all of their hard work.
Wow, that's
Doesn't the
beautiful.
universe just take care of us in the most mysterious of ways?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Wow,
Oh,
yeah.
I love that so much.
And I ate some of that cookie right before this.
Perfect. Yep,
Hmm.
just keeping the treats going.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's a really lovely way to celebrate the hard earned transition into spring. It has felt way longer than other years to me. Um, I think it's because of that integration thing where it just felt like a lot packed into a small amount of time. Like a level of intensity that I wasn't expecting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I feel like I don't know. I feel like time has been very strange for me lately. Like, I feel like I have been in winter forever.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I also feel like I haven't, or like, not that I haven't, but that I haven't thought about it. I think I've just been like feeling like I'm just like trying to survive. And I have been like clawing myself through in the like, not in a way like, how can I describe this? Not in a way that it feels like I'm like clawing to like actually survive, but I'm like trying to grab at the things that I like where I want to be. So
Okay.
like trying to hold on to those, like focusing on joys instead of focusing on the struggle, or like following the things that are exciting to me instead of, right, like wallowing in my misery. I'm like, okay, struggles, I know you're here. I'm working on you. Like, I got you, but you don't need to be like top of mind all the time. I'm going to instead focus on these other things. But that has felt like so out of reach to do that.
Mm-hmm. I
That's
agree
what
with
it's
this.
felt like.
I have been doing this practice where, because I also follow a lot of psychologists, therapists, counselors, and one of the practices I've been experimenting with is when I read something about like relationship advice, I reframe it as a relationship advice to myself, like with myself, because I have been trying to build up that self trust and like self commitment and feeling capable. And one of the things that I was thinking about recently was this idea that, and we've talked a lot about this, the not having to fix a problem all the time, because obviously I'm exhausted if I'm just constantly looking at how to fix or strive or grasp for something to make me feel better or to like resolve a thing, because sometimes that's just not, it's not right timing, it's just ongoing. Sometimes it's just external, you can't control the external, so no matter how much I change or shift inside, like that external thing's still going to be going on. And like constantly nitpicking is what I end up doing, isn't helpful. And the idea of putting aside a thing, being like, I got you, but later. I
Mm-hmm.
get to relax right now. I get to play right now. I get to enjoy this. has been really difficult. But it's so interesting that the algorithm gods keep on bringing up all these reminders for me to say, hey, remember that thing about having play and relaxing and not toiling constantly? And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. I did need that reminder. And here it is again.
Mm.
Coming through you.
Yeah. Oh, that just made me also think that, like, Bridget, you just said like how hard that has felt, like holding on to joys and excitements and like things just haven't felt exciting. But then you're like, the practice of it. And I'm like, wait a second, is this literally what I'm talking about? I'm doing the things, I'm doing them. However, the like struggle stuff still it feels so much bigger that I'm like, oh, I'm not doing anything. When in reality,
Mm.
I am actually, because I was just like, Bridget, you literally just sat on the couch last night. You came home with your double cookies, shared it with your partner because you had so much, put your cookie on a plate, sat on the couch. I sat there and listen, Tiffany, I just close my eyes and I eat this cookie. It is so fucking good that
Mm.
I'm like fully like here, like this is the best moment ever. And I'm like, Bridget, that's it. That's the joys. You're doing those things. You're
Mm-hmm.
doing them. It's likely I'm doing a lot more of them. However, they see like, what is it? Like they just like don't hold as much weight in my brain as the like things that are like, fix me, like to handle this, do all this other stuff, like keep working, like
I blame capitalism. I think we were just talking about dismantling the internalized capitalism propaganda that we have been conditioned in. I think that's it. Because I think we are doing what we should be doing, but there's a guilt reflex built in through conditioning that says we have to earn that. We have to earn the right to be able to close our eyes and enjoy a cookie.
Mhm.
And if you did it, then it's like we are conditioned to think, okay, well, I have to balance that out with something productive. But like you did the productive thing, the human thing. You were present in the moment, full of joy about a cookie. Like, what could be more human than that? Like all the good stuff, butter and sugar, and sharing it with someone else. That is the most human experience I've ever heard. And I can't think of anything better. And it's so interesting to think how that isn't what's revered as much
Mm.
as this like self abandonment and also turning away from other people to like be productive in some way.
Mhm. Hmm. Yeah. I That's like making me think about like with the whole like show of it all of like I am going to show that I was productive and did a thing, right? Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna announce it on social media. I'm gonna whatever. And I'm thinking in my head, like, what would be a thing that I would be like, oh my God, look what I did, you know? Like versus like this cookie. Like, so I did just like I shared a picture of me like starting my seeds, and because it had been in like a conversation, but I in my head as I'm thinking about that, I'm like, okay, yeah, like what went into me getting all these seeds started? That was a lot of fucking work. It took forever. Like there was a lot to go into that. And I'm like, look at me. I'm proud of me. I'm doing this hard work. I'm doing the seeds, right? But like it never once would cross my mind to be like, look at me. I'm sitting on my couch enjoying this cookie with my eyes closed. Like I would never, right? Like I would never just like share that out of nowhere.
I
Like
mean,
I think
maybe we could.
right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I think maybe
Uh-huh.
that's the shift is like what if we shared more of the like the joy moments that are like, this is part of it. This should be more of part of it.
You know what it makes me think of is when I texted you that I was doing a really good job when I obviously wasn't feeling like I was doing a really good job. And you texted me back a photo of you just standing in the sun. And I was like, yep, that's what I needed. Humans enjoying very human things, simple, profound, and present.
That was one of those moments, because that was like, I was in the middle of my workday. I was feeling like so tired out. I couldn't do anything. It was randomly nice enough outside to like sit outside in the sun. And so I was just doing it. And I was like, oh my God, the sun, like, remember what that feels like? It's so nice. And I was like, shoot, Tiffany's going through something hard right now. I'm going to share some of the sunshine with her. And that was like, that is that moment of, yeah, like sharing the joys, sharing the like, I'm not doing this to like be productive or like get work done or because I feel like I have to. I'm just doing it because I want to. And if like other things of like, I quote unquote should be working right now, and I'm not because I can't. So I'm honoring my energy levels and I'm doing what I can do.
Ugh, I love that as a practice. I am getting better at allowing myself to do that. And now the trick for me is practicing not beating myself up about it as much. Because sometimes I'll give myself the permission slip, but sometimes I could like already see the strings, the sticky, sticky strings attached, where it has all these little pangs of guilt or some kind of scolding coming of, oh, you should have da 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 da. Thank you for those reminders. Those are good ones.
You're welcome. Also, thank you to me because I need those reminders just as much.
And around and around and around it goes.
Yep, forever and ever and ever. I think we're doing a really good job.
We are doing a really good job.
And I am glad that we have these conversations to be like good, really good reminders of that, because I have been so in my head lately.
Me too.
And I think now I'm like, oh shit, girl, you're doing way better than you think you are.
Yes, we are. Even when it doesn't feel like it immediately.